All right, so let's sit on your folded blanket. Ooh, do I have? Oh, yes, I am on. Okay, good. So let's start sitting in Swastikasana, Sukhasana. Simple cross legs. You can change the cross of your legs today if you haven't changed them in a while, or making sure that you're alternating each day or each time, depending on how many times a day you're sitting. Lift the sides of your body, widen across the collarbones, shoulder blades also wide. Keep this firm structure in your posture of your legs releasing down, trunk lifting up, shoulders coming down, chest lifting up without disturbing the lumbar band. Take your hands into Namaskarasana, keeping the width across your collarbones, and gently drawing the shoulder blades in towards your chest. And take a moment to connect with your breath, and through your breath to connect with yourself. Slow, soft, deep, peaceful inhalations. Slow, soft, deep, peaceful exhalations. In your spine, drawing inwards and upwards, while you can rest the front of your body to the back of your body. As you relax your face, draw the front of your face towards the back of your head. And become aware of the space within. It is connecting a front body to back body, front of your face to the back of your head. Creates a sense of not only integration, but inner space. Relax your brain, relax your eyes. And taking a slightly deeper inhalation. Exhale, bow your head. And salute the divine life within. Or whatever name or form you choose. Release the back of your hands to your thighs. Inhale, slowly lift your head. Quietly let your eyes open towards the floor in front of you. Good. A bit of a background noise. I don't know what one of the neighbors are doing. I hope it's not disturbing you guys too much. I just want to quickly close the windows while you wait for me. Come and stand in Uttanasana. Feet hip wide, hands onto the floor, lifting your legs. Okay. Good. So lift your inner legs up and out, away from each other. Your hands can be on blocks, even on a chair, in the wall, depending on what you need. And lift your inner legs. So not letting the legs fall into each other. Pull the inner legs up and out. Lift the buttock bones up and out. Concave spine. And for those who are ready to release, drop your head and breathe. You're just dropping your head, Charlene. You're not tucking it in too much. And then inhale, slowly come up. Okay, so today we are working on straight legs and how that affects the knees also. So we're going to do a Trikonasana. I'll move my screen now with my head isn't cut off. Light jump, feet apart, outer edges of your feet parallel. Turn your left foot in, right leg all the way out. So without correcting too much, just to see what your natural tendency is, coming to Utthita Trikonasana. Just a light Trikonasana. Inhale, come up, and change sides. Right foot in, left leg all the way out. Inhale, exhale, Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, come up. Turn your feet forward, and light jump feet together. Just moving my camera. Okay. So it's going to be maybe a little bit tricky today to get close and far and close and far. So there are two main things, as far as I've seen, main issues that create strain in the knee. The one is when the knee hangs inwards. So we haven't created enough rotation from the hip. So remember when we did our hip opening workshop and I said how much the hips also affect the knee. So if the hip's not moving, then the knee's going to pay the price because of not having that alignment in the knee. So your toes are pointing straight away from you, and all four points, all four corners of the kneecap should also be facing away. They shouldn't be falling in. So I hope with the light that it's clear. Let me show on the other side where there's more light. So here my knee is falling inwards. Here my knee is straightening. I'll do it one more time. The light is changing outside because it's a bit of a gray day. Every now and again the sun comes out. So there's falling in. There but did you see the movement came from my hip? I aligned my knee not only from the knee, okay? So first thing is from the hip. Second thing is the outer ligament of the knee. So now I'll show from the back. Has to learn to cut backwards, extend, firm, and cut back so that it doesn't allow the knee to roll in. See the difference? Wrong position of the knee, correct position of the knee. So there's a rotation in the whole leg. The rotation is starting from the hip. This outer ligament of the knee is helping. And for some who have very developed calves, especially the outer part of the calf, there can also be a cutting back of the calf to help keep the knee in position instead of letting it fall in. So you can see how my outer knee is lifting here. And if you were to see from the inside, my inner knee is collapsing. So I want my outer knee and my inner knee balanced with each other. So we're going to do Utthita Trikonasana again. And this time I'm going to let you look at your knee, see what's happening with your knee. So not always do we feel pain straight away. The problem is that after years of doing it in an incorrect way, not ideal way, then suddenly one day you have pain. So regardless of whether you have pain in your knee or not, you're going to have a look and see what's happening. So jump your feet apart, left foot in, right leg all the way out. You can put your hands into your hips, roll them. So before you roll the thighs, look at your right knee and see, is it falling in a little bit, or are all 4 points of the kneecap straight? So if it's falling in, and for most, if you haven't done anything yet, it will be rotation from your hip. So the left thigh is rolling to the left, right to the right, so that you bring that alignment in your leg. Now lift all 4 corners of the kneecaps equally in, equally up. Extend the outer ligament of the knee, fix the outer ligament of the knee into its kind of placement. So you embed the ends of the ligament of the knee and then bring that back also. Bring the calf back also. And now look at your leg. And now feel The weight in the inner knee, the outer knee, the balance in the knee should be the same. Stretch your arms, and you're going to maintain that when we come into Trikonasana. Inhale, exhale. Now awareness with your leg, awareness with the knee, rotation, lifting of the knee, outer ligament firm. That's it. Now look at your knee again. Did you, in fact, do what you thought you did to maintain it? If you see that you've lost it, what can you do to correct it? Then inhale, pulling up from your back leg, back arm, come up, and change sides. Now the different sides have different tendencies. One side, you may have to be a lot more attentive and put a bit more consciousness effort in to maintain it. So sometimes, just trying to turn it, it's kind of stuck. It's so far in that it doesn't want to turn. In which case you bend your leg to get the correct axis, and then you straighten the leg. So that helps you to get that movement now of the left thigh out to the left, since you go to the left, or for points of the kneecaps equally in, equally up. Outer ligaments of the knee extended, firm, cutting back, calf back, and almost in a little bit. For those that tend to bulge out with the calf, it's like the outer leg holds in. So your back leg, of course, you know, pushes back, but the front leg has a tendency to fall back, which also affects the knee. So bring it in. Exhale, holding what you've created. So it's more challenging to create it once you're already in the pose. That's why you create the correct actions before, and then you keep them. Okay, inhale, pull yourself up. Okay, good. So, you have your cameras, most of you, and it's already challenging to see that I can't really see what's happening with the knees. So as I said before, if you can get, obviously you wanted to see, but if you could also set yourself up that I can see you in the same plane, and I can always tell you if I need you to move, but this is your basic setup. All right, so I'm going to take you off mute and see if anybody has a question about that, and if anybody particularly felt a difference with that adjustment of the knees. Okay, everybody okay? Everybody understanding? All good. Okay, I could have just asked for thumbs up. Celine, ça va?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
You hear me? Yes. Yes. So for me, definitely the knee has a tendency to roll in.
Yes.
So then I bring it out, but mechanically, and there's really nothing I can do. The hip, oops, the other hip is also moving. So I have a problem with the knee straight, and then I'm not in a plank anymore. So how do I balance?
Understand what you're saying. So the thing is, of course, sometimes we're limited. The ideal is that the hips are facing forward, this thigh is turning, that thigh. I would say that if you're having knee issues and your knee is really rolling in and that back hip has to release a little bit to bring that alignment, it's a temporary compromise, because we have to sometimes compromise life. We have an ideal, but our bodies aren't always in an ideal state. We are working towards an ideal state. So if that inner knee is hanging in, I feel that the price that you have to pay leaving that instead of this, I would rather correct this and a little bit of give in the back hip. But then you have to still work. So you correct your front leg and you're still doing everything you can to turn that back leg up. You're not just saying, oh, tant pis, I can't, tant pis, it's French for, okay, so what, tough luck, I'm just going to let it all go. No, just because you give yourself a little bit of leeway, you keep working and you keep doing your Supta Parinusthasana, you're lying flat on the floor with your leg out to the side, your Uttita Hasta Parinusthasana, lateral, which I was just doing now, standing. You keep on doing your hip openings so that you can come back and do better standing poses. And your standing poses themselves, you're working the hip opening. Okay? All right. Anybody else have a question? All good. Okay. Don't worry, we're coming to more issues about the front leg, knee. I'm just going to put you back on mute. All right, so we're going to do Utthita Trikonasana again. I'll show first. So the next thing that we tend to do is hang in the back of the knee. So we hang the calf down, we hang into the knee. Especially now, okay, some people don't even stretch the leg at all. We'll get there just now also. But mostly people who are not stretching the leg, unless they're beginner, they're doing it because they're scared of going to the opposite, the extreme of the hanging in the back of the leg. All right? So there has to be a resistance with the calf, the whole inner leg, but especially the calf away. This inner leg is also pulling away. So we've spoken about this before. Your triangle shape, the inside of the triangle shouldn't be collapsed. The inside of the triangle should be wide. So I don't say that you change, you have your correct distance of your feet. Even with that distance, sometimes the triangle shrinks, the legs fall in. And we want to do the opposite, pull the legs out. So without any adjustment or support first, see what you're doing. Come into preparation for Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, exhale. As you go down, see what happens in the back of the leg. Okay, are you hanging in the back of the leg, the back of the calf, the back of the knee? So you're in the pose now, and you're feeling, what do you do in Utthita Trikonasana? Inhale, come up, and go to the other side. And again, you're going to, more than correcting this time, you're going to observe what your tendency is. Utthita Trikonasana to the left. So I'm going to try and show, I can show a little bit, but I'm limited in how much. Some people really like the back of the leg, you see it almost rounding out. I am a little bit now, okay, to show you the incorrect movement. And now I corrected a bit. I'm going to move my hand out the way so it doesn't stop you from seeing. Look how my leg, so you come up, everybody inhale, come up. Look at my leg, the back of my leg. Now I'm hanging. Now I'm not. Do you see? Look at the space. I've got a white line behind me. Look at the length of the line when I'm hanging. Look at the length of the line when I'm not hanging. Now, is my leg bent? No. It's straight, but I'm not hanging, okay? Maybe if we're staying so long and showing the wrong movement, maybe a tiny bit. So what I want you to understand is that a straight leg is not an overstretched leg. A bent leg is not a straight leg, an overstretched leg is not a straight leg. An overstretched leg is you bending out the opposite way. So I'm bending, my leg is going that way. I'm hanging, my leg is going that way. My leg is straight, it's in its place, okay? So how are you going to correct that hanging in the back of the leg? Okay, so a block, if you're very tall, it's a bit trickier. You may need 2 blocks and sometimes they want to slip. So normally 1 block at a little bit of an angle in the center of your calf is going to stop that calf muscle from pushing back. So how are you going to stretch your leg now is not by just pushing the leg back, it's by lifting the quadricep up with the resistance of the calf that way. So what are your directions? Calf towards the shin bone and quadricep up. So take your block, place it behind the belly of your calf. You can even lift your toes of your front foot up. It's going to help to activate that quadricep. If you need your second brick for your hand, because maybe now you're not going down so deep, inhale, exhale, extend, and come into Utthita Trikonasana. Now just because you've got that block there, doesn't mean you're trying to bend your leg. You're extending your leg, not by hanging back into the leg, but by lifting the quadricep. Tailbone buttocks forward to the best of your ability, turning that left hip to the left, and check your right knee. Did you maintain your correction from our first round of Trikonasana? Then stretch your arm up. Inhale, come up. Take your block away and change sides. So align the neck while it's bent. Then stretch the leg. Toes up. Let the block draw the calf towards the shin. So there's got to be a little bit of letting go of resistance in the calf, softening of the calf so that it can come in. If it's too hard, it bulges back. Stretch into your arms. Inhale, exhale, extend. Now, if you're doing this correctly, you should feel that the leg is straight, and there's a softness and a lightness behind the knees. Stay in a little bit longer so I can just come and have a quick look. That's it, not looking too bad. Okay, if you don't have a block, inhale, come up. If you don't have a block, you have to be even more conscious. You have to understand what would the block do. So we're going to come and sit in Gomukhasana 1, where the shin bone of your left leg is going to massage, put pressure into the belly of your right calf. So come and sit, knees on the floor, take the left knee behind the right, crossing high up rather than more towards the ankle, and feel, so for some this is awful. If your calves are overactive, overdeveloped, this feels like torture. But if you can let go, how it's actually a nice massage. So if it doesn't feel like a nice massage, at least start to think that it's some kind of massage for relaxing that calf muscle. So can you feel how the shin bone is pushing the calf muscle inwards towards the shin bone of the same leg of the calf muscle? Sounds a bit clumsy. So when you use left and right, your left shin bone is softening and taking the right calf muscle towards the right shin bone. Okay? Good. Sit there and breathe, and don't resist the left shin bone with the right calf muscle. Soften the calf muscle to accept. You know when you get a massage and somebody pushes their thumb or their hand into a tight muscle, if you resist, the massage isn't going to help you. You have to let go. So that same feeling in the calf. And then release and change sides. So we're working on straight leg. So now we're doing a bench leg position, but we're learning something in this position. We're awakening an awareness of the calf muscle, of how it needs to soften, of how it needs to move in. So that is alive in our consciousness when we go and do Trikonasana one more time. So if you don't have the bricks with you and you feel like you're hanging in the back of your knees, then you just have to be extra conscious to do this work without the help of the brick. Okay, release. So your calf muscles should feel nice and relaxed, nice and massaged. Before we go and do Trikonasana, we're going to do Uttanasana. So we're going to take this to standing leg. So you can watch for a moment. Overstretched standing leg. I just, look how I stretch them. I just push them back. My thigh is forward, my calf is back. So this is not what I mean by an extended leg. Now, I bend my leg a little bit, especially to soften that calf muscle. So I might have to bring the camera closer. Many of you have seen me do this before. I'm sucking the calf muscle in. I think I'll have to bring the camera closer, and I'm lifting the quadricep up. And now can you see how my legs are more stacked? My thighs are not so far forward. My calves are not so far back. I'll go back to the wrong position again. I just move my hands out the way to make it easier to see. Okay, I let go. My legs, wrong position. Better position. Okay, so instead of just pushing the legs back, letting the thighs hang forward, I'm sucking my calves in. That very space where when we're doing Gomukhasana, you felt moving in, that's moving in. And now to stretch my legs, I keep that calf forward, keep the calf forward, and lift, 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 lift the quadricep. Okay? So let me see what you're doing, and then I'm going to move my camera to give you a bit of a closer view for those who weren't able to see too clear. So go sideways so that I can see the side view of what's happening with your calf. You can bend your legs slightly, soften that calf, suck this belly of the calf inwards towards the shin bone. Keep that calf muscle sucking in and lift your knees, lift the quadriceps to straighten the leg. That's it. Good. Soraya, not bad at all. Nisha, you are looking like you're leaning forward, like I was. Don't know if it's the angle of the camera, but bring those top front thighs back and the calves in more and more. That's it. Good. Lina, pas mal, mais plus et plus de travail avec le mollet. Mollet, I always get confused. Your calf, in. That's it. Good. And release for a moment. Okay. Well done. That looked at least that some kind of awareness starts. So I'll do both ways to see. So now I'm pushing the calf back. Okay. Now look at the belly of my calf. I don't know if you can, it's difficult on the camera. Let me turn this way. Okay, I'm going to even move one leg out the way. Okay, so now I'm going to suck, bend the leg, suck the calf in, and lift the thigh to activate the leg. So there it's hanging back, there it's coming in. I hope that it was clear enough, but you can, not so much, Celine. Okay. It's a tricky thing to show even in real life, but trust me, Nisha, you just pushed your legs back. You didn't lift them to stretch them. You pushed them back to stretch them. So understand that the calf is resisting forward. Most of you had your breaks. When you're Trikonasana, pull that calf in. Bend your legs, suck the calf in, widen the back of the calf, suck it in, and now keep that moving forward and pull up. Pull up. There's no backwards. That's not stretching. That's overstretching. Can you lift the legs without hanging in the back of the knee? Those of you who had the break, when we did Trikonasana, I said that if you're doing it correctly, there should be quite a nice feeling of lightness and softness behind the knee. So that should also be there in your Uttanasana. So not hanging back. If you hang back, the calves are hard. Sometimes you have to bend them, then suck them in, then lift. If they're already overstretched, backwards, now I try suck them in. It's like they're already too hard to be able to access. So you bend your legs for a moment just to get that a little bit better, Nisha. Good. I hope you feel the difference. Okay, that's it. Céline, si tu es facé vers moi, je ne peux pas voir ce qui t'arrive dans les jambes. Lina, are you feeling anything? You are? Good. Okay. Alison, that's looking good. Charlene, I said I don't want you to overstretch, but I didn't say I want you to understretch. Yeah. All right. Hands on your hips and inhale and come up. So, of course, it's a tricky balance between understretching and overstretching, okay? And the longer you've practiced, the more kind of that tightness in the muscles go away, the more we just tend to sometimes hang. You have to understand there shouldn't be hanging in the joints. There shouldn't be hanging in the back of the knee. We're going to do Trikonasana one more time. This is not the alpha and omega of Trikonasana. It's only Trikonasana for the knee of the front leg. You can understand how there's a whole book written by Iyengar Yoga on Trikonasana. But basically, it's not just about Trikonasana, it's understanding the microcosm, understanding the macrocosm. So what you can understand in Trikonasana, you can carry forward into many other poses. Now, I want those two things, the alignment of the knee and the not hanging in the leg and not bending the leg. The leg is lifted. So we're going to start with the bent leg, just to soften the calf. I'm going to move my brick out the way so that it's clear. Now suck the center of the calf towards the shin. Toes are lifting. And now, do not push the knee back to stretch the leg. Lift, lift, lift the quadricep, lift the quadricep. So you have resistance with the calf, pulling up with the thigh, knee staying aligned. Now that front leg, when we move into Trikonasana and we going down, doesn't mean we hang in that leg. That's where that ground in your back leg is going to help you keep the lightness. That front leg is not hanging. I didn't let everything drop as I went into Trikonasana. That's it. Good, Charlene. Better. Good. Allez, Lina, plus. Le arrière de le genou, ça tombe un peu. Celine, not bad. Inhale and come up. Okay. So for some, this work is incredibly challenging and it feels like you just can't access. Like maybe you understand on a logical level, intellectual level, but it's like you can't get the body to respond. It's tough sometimes. You need to put a lot of conscious awareness, conscious intention. Just don't give up, okay? Just keep focusing until you feel something move. Remember as a beginner, to lift your kneecaps. That was really challenging. Now it's almost automatic. Not that we should be automatic in yoga, we should always be conscious, but you can do it with a lot more ease than you could as a beginner. So now we're fine-tuning the direction of the leg, the movement of the knee, and in the beginning it's going to be tough. But if you stick with it, it will come. Hands on your hips to start. Bend your leg, left leg, lift your left toes. Suck the calf towards the shin bone. And now pulling the kneecap up, pulling the quadricep up, but keep the resistance. So there comes a point where you feel like, oh, you just can't lift the calf anymore. And at the end, oh, you just end up hanging. And then you've undone all your good work. So don't. It's difficult and it's slow in the beginning. Don't say it's always difficult, but it's difficult in the beginning. Now keep the resistance of your inner legs, also the back leg, stretch your arms, exhale. Do not hang in the back of the thigh, do not hang in the back of the knee, and definitely do not hang in the back of the calf. Breathe and feel how that front leg hopefully is feeling light. Maybe for some of you you're dying. Inhale, come up. Turn your feet forward, step, or jump feet together, Tadasana. Shoulders back and down, breathe. Okay, I'm just going to come and get a little bit of feedback and see now with that second. No, I want to unmute, not mute. Hold on. Unmute. Sorry. Okay, if anybody has a question, put their hand up. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Okay, Lena has a question. Sorry, I don't know why my. Are you guys? And I'll come to you, Nisha, also. Okay, try and talk, Lena.
No, I didn't have any question.
Oh, okay, okay, Nisha then. Nisha?
Okay, so for me, I feel like I'm lifting my kneecap so much that I'm not getting that movement. So when I did it in Uttanasana, and you said it looks much better, it's almost like I let go of my knee a little bit.
You know, when you're used to overstretching your knee, you might feel like your knee slightly bent. Is that what you're saying? You felt like...
Yes, I felt like I was crippling my knee a little bit. Like it.
Okay, so for example, there are a lot of actions that we can do too much that we can do with hardness instead of intensity. So always remember that we're not looking to become hard. We're looking to create firmness, stability. There's intense actions. Sometimes in the learning process, it is just a struggle and there is a little bit of like, you know, feeling like we have to push. And I don't like using words like push, except where it's part like push the tailbone in, shoulder blades, and those parts that can't overdo. But I've also got a student who's not here today, but with her feet, I mean, she does her feet, overdoes them so much that she gets cramps and they ache. or she does nothing at all with them. Like there's no middle ground for her. So in the beginning, maybe we will go a little bit to the extreme, but to understand, we've got to come back to the point where it's not aching, where it's not painful to do the correct movement. But I really struggled initially. I know lots of you maybe don't think so, but I did. So I understand that there's this, that when you, I mean, like it's this, how to even find the words, how intense it is to get your knee to move that little bit more, or to get that rotation, or to move from that specific part. I mean, it's like, oh, like you have to move a mountain sometimes. The body feels so resistant and so tamasic. So it's just work at it, and understand that it's not all supposed to be so rigid, okay? And the kneecap has to lift. And it is in and out, but don't think of it just from the kneecap. I really want you to think of the lifting coming from the quadricep as well. Then it's not all focused in the kneecap going in. Remember, it's going in and up. And what's pulling the kneecap up, it's not just from above the knee, it's the whole calf. Sorry, calf is on my brain. The whole thigh, the whole quadricep. And so you've got to think of these directions. Thighs up, top thigh back, calf in. So once you've pulled the thigh up and you're pushing it back, especially in Uttanasana, then you're pushing the calf in the opposite direction. So you were at the teacher's training workshop on the weekend, how I said as one thing goes back, another thing comes forward. They don't contradict each other, they complement each other because you work the one against the other. As you bring the calf in, you push the thigh back. So let's do Uttanasana one more time. You might, if you've been used, I'll come to you now, Saraya, you might feel like the back of your knee is bending slightly, but it wasn't. When you've overstretched your leg and you go to softening the back of the knee, it does feel like it's bending. So you can always work a little bit with the mirror every now and again and see what you're feeling isn't always accurate, unfortunately. It makes it a very tricky thing. We have to feel what's happening, but is what we're feeling what's actually happening? And therein lies one of the conundrums and the tricks. Okay, Saraya.
But it felt very good. It felt good. I mean, the moment I did that little bit of softening, it's like I felt good.
Okay, wonderful. So the thing is, and that's again, what you're doing with the calf, you are simultaneously softening it and activating it. But you're activating it in the opposite direction that it would be to become hard. So if you activate the calf backwards, it becomes hard. Okay, if you soften the calf and bring the calf forward, it is an action, but I can't get that action unless I first softened. So
Okay.
you see like about this, you have to let go and work and let go, and balance them between each other. So that comes back to Nisha's question about, you know, feeling like she's working so hard. So can she back off a little bit without losing the action? Where can she soften? Where does she need to work more? Where does she need to soften to work more? And this is what the calf is teaching you. You cannot get the calf, actually the thigh sometimes also, in the correct position if it's just hard. So just on, it's a little aside, when you're lying flat on the floor, and we're supposed to push this front leg to the floor, sometimes when you grip the calf the thigh so hard and push it to the floor so hard, we have the opposite, it bounces up. So how we have to extend it, soften it a little bit, and then place it to the floor. Because if we just press it, it will have the opposite. It will be like a trampoline action, and it will bounce up instead of coming down. So understanding not everything is about pushing, make it happen. There's yoga, if you read what it's supposed to be, it's about balance. It's about bringing together, yoking, bringing together opposites into the same space and time. That's it. Good. So let's go back and do Uttanasana one more time, unless there's anybody else that has a question. Alison, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you, going back to the Gomukhasana position, could you just show me from the other side the position of your feet? Because I'm not sure that
from the back. All right, sure.
Yeah.
So this one is tricky because the Gomukhasana we do most often is Gomukhasana 2, which is when we take the knee all the way behind. Okay, I'll show from the back also. Just going to show from the side first. So here, I'm not taking the knee behind. If I show you from the front, my knee is still on its side. Okay, so I've taken it and I've put the head of the shin bone behind the knee. Now the feet want to be as close to Virasana as possible. So they're not, you're not between your feet. You are sitting on the opposite heel. So my right buttock is on my left heel, my left buttock is on my right heel. And I'm trying to bring the feet back. So this is also the position for Lolasana, okay? People get, for some reason, with this Gomukhasana, so confused. Does that make it a little bit clearer, Alison? I'll show from the back again. So I'm not going all the way over. I'm not doing the other side. I'm going part of the way.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So have
I
a
see.
look up Gomukhasana 1, 2, and 3. They're all steps further. While you're asking the question, I'll just clarify. And I'm sure we did this maybe in week 1 of our knee. So here's 1. When I sit down, my left knee that I've taken the shin behind the right is higher. Number 2, same leg behind. Now that leg that I've taken behind the knee is lower. The opposite knee is on top. I've got the same leg behind, but 1, the knee is higher. Same knee behind, knee is lower. Third one, knee stays lower, and we're sitting between the feet. There is 1, 2, and 3. 2 we do the most often. 1 I really love. I learned to love number 1 after I fractured my heel. And getting, obviously, the whole leg, not walking for however long, not putting weight on it for 6 weeks or more, and having to come back. That calf work was so important and so difficult, but so rewarding. So I really learned how to love Gomukhasana 1. And it really helps people. The people that suffer the most in it are the people that need to do it the most. So you can, if you can hardly bear it, you can do it, come out, do the other side, come out, just do it again and again, do dog pose in between. Just cycle through poses and come back to it and repeat it in one session, in one practice, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So that little by little, that calf learns to relax. Okay. So, talking about Gomukhasana, why don't we do one more Gomukhasana 1 before our Uttanasana to really feel that softening in the calf, okay? So let's all do it together. So you're going to lift your left leg, take your left shin bone behind the right knee. So careful not to cross too low. I don't want to cross by my ankle. That's going to be very unnecessarily uncomfortable. Feet are pulling back as much towards a Virasana shape as possible. And it is your left knee, I'm doing mirror image, left knee that is higher than your right. Okay? And now we're going to close our eyes, hands on our thighs, and breathe. And let go of any resistance in the calf. Feel the calf softening, widening, and moving inwards. And then release and change sides. Once you're there, make sure it's now the left shin bone that's behind your, right shin bone that's behind your left knee, and right knee that's higher. Feet going as much backwards as they're able to. Hips are level. Relax your hands on your thighs, close your eyes. And how can you let go? If you feel that despite your best effort to relax your calf, you're still struggling, observe your brain, your eyes, your jaw, your breath. How can you expect your body to let go when your brain is gripped? Even if you can't let go a lot, let go a little bit. And then come forward, come and stand. Now all that consciousness, all that life is in the calves. Hands onto your hips to come forward. Now in the process of coming forward, sometimes there's that to balance you, we lean back a little bit. So as soon as you've got your hands onto the floor or your chair or your blocks, for today, I'm not saying you always bend your legs, but especially if you overstretch the legs, bend for a moment to suck the center of the calf in, where it's nice and conscious right now, thanks to Gomukhasana 1. Now, Nisha, you stuck your knees in and up, but the quadriceps are helping, the buttock bones are helping. So your extension of your leg is coming from an upward movement, not from a backward movement. Keep the calf muscles forward, top front thighs back. So our last bit of work now in this Uttanasana is as we pull the calf forward, how we push the thigh back against each other. It's not two separate movements, it's two opposites that are actually part of one movement, that against each other create the optimal alignment in your legs. Very nice. Alison, you could be lifting a bit more, so you're underdoing a little bit to try not overstretch. Lift and push back the front thighs. That's a bit better. Careful not to move backwards though. And then hands on your hips. Keep your knees lifted. Don't. So you can lift those kneecaps more, Nisha. You definitely can. But I understand you're trying to find that balance between letting go and working a little bit. Okay. Good. I hope that you all at least felt something, even if you struggled to feel it. I hope that you felt something, yes? Anybody feel nothing? Alison, you felt something?
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Okay, I just want to ask you, in Uttanasana, my tendency is to hang back. Okay, so I'm trying to come forward and engage calf and all of that, but then I feel as though I lose my heel.
Okay, so
if you bring your weight forward, would you not lose your heel anyway?
no, not necessarily. If you do it correctly, you won't. Okay, so this is again, we spoke about the 4 points of the feet, the ball of the big toe, all of the little toe, in heel, out heel. So that you balance the weight over your feet. And that especially gives you good balance between left and right. But in Uttanasana, we have to be aware of the difference between the back heel and the front heel. So when we overstretch, we hang back, the weight comes into the back heel. Where we want to have the weight is on the front heel. So hold on, I'll sit so you get a better view. So that point there, come closer, so that you are not here, but you're here. Okay, so try one last time and see if it makes a difference, okay? So of course the weight is balanced between the inner foot, outer foot, your inner arches of your feet are collapsing. I mean, not collapsing. All the stuff that we did in the first week, also with standing. That's it, not letting the legs collapse in. That's it. And many of you in my regular classes now lift the kneecaps, Nisha, lift the thighs. That's it, don't push the calves back. Lifting the thighs does not mean pushing the calves back. Bring the weight forward so that it's not the back heel, it's the front heel. And now lift the kneecaps again. Push strongly the top front thighs back as you suck the calves in. Suck the calves in as you push the thighs back. Work from both sides together. It's not one and then the other at the same time, depending on which way you're facing. Okay, that's it. Good. And then inhale, slowly, not like a jack in the box. All right, that's it. Good. Okay. All right. Okay. So last thing. So I'm maybe even getting confused myself between when I've spoken about it. I know that in my general classes we've done quite a lot, but not to let the legs hang inwards. So we have to lift the inner legs up and out, up and out. So we've got the balance between the inside and the outside, just like in Trikonasana. we were lifting the legs away from each other. Even in Uttanasana, especially feet apart, but even the feet together, we have to feel the legs pull up and the inner legs pull away, even as the outer legs stay compact. So with the feet apart, the wider apart they go, the more the legs want to hang in. Feet apart, lift your inner ankles, keep all 4 points of the feet on the floor, lift the inner ankles, lift the kneecaps, lift the shin bone, and bring the calf muscles forward. Just standing, bring the calf muscles forward. Feel that action in the legs, okay? Now we're going to go into Uttanasana, and you're going to keep that. Exhale, you can have your hands on hips, come forward. As your hands come down, bring your legs back to perpendicular and create that balance from inside, outside, inner legs up and out. Calves in, thighs back, quadriceps lifted, buttocks lifted, and your legs are fully extended, but there's a little bit of sense of softness in the back of the knee, not puffing up, not hanging. Tu ne bombes pas l'arrière des genoux. Ah, voilà, Lina, c'est un peu mieux. Tu sens la différence? Moyennement. Okay. Some shift, some awareness is better than none, always. That's it. Anisha, that looks there, your knees lifting there now a bit, that's good. And the quadriceps lifting and not overdoing the back of your knee. Inhale and slowly come up. Okay, so just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, okay? Some of you, like Soraya said, she felt a fantastic change. Others are still finding their way through it. And obviously, the more you struggle with your knees, the more difficult it's going to be to create this change, okay? But that's the very reason why you need to do kind of this work with not just whatever happens, but understanding all the things that we've spoken about as a basic for getting the correct alignment in the knees and not putting weight into the knees where not necessary. Whether it's the inner knee, back knee, outer knee, we're not trying to hang in the joints. We're trying to place the joint optimally. Okay, good. All right, so there is even more to do with straight legs, but there's a lot that I've given you to absorb for today. All right, so enough for that work today. We're just going to come and do Setu Bandha Savangasana. So we're going to just start a bit of closing, then Yoga Mudrasana in Sukhasana, and legs up the wall in Shavasana. If you want to use the wall, if you don't have bricks, remember you can fold blankets. You could do the more supported version. Setu Bandha Savangasana. Those of you who've got your support, if you would even like to do your Savangasana, your shoulder stands, but it's done for today, you can. That's if you know your setup. So you're either coming into Setu Bandha Savangasana with the brick or with folded blankets or a bolster. So I'll just show for those who need to see. I'm using a bolster, but you could fold 2-3 blankets in a rectangular shape. You could take something, more folded blankets for under your feet. Have a belt to tie at least the feet, that the thighs stay rolling in. And you'll come into Setu Bandha. We will come back to doing, for example, forward bends or sitting poses with straight legs, because it is a continuation of that calf not pushing back and the heel not lifting. But I'd rather give you, like also we spoke about in the teacher's training, you've got to be able to digest. If I give you too much, you'll get indigestion and nothing will go in. So try at least in the next week, work on this 2-3 times. I will also be putting it up on YouTube so that you can access it whenever you need. Céline, ça c'est un peu exagéré, la distance entre les pieds. You can go a bit wider than hip wide, but not too much. That's it, good. And your brick, you need to try and straighten it, it's tilting. And don't you have a belt? You should tie your feet together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm putting you guys back on mute. whether you're in Setu Bandha Savangasana, Salamba Savangasana, your throat is relaxed, your eyes relaxed, your brain relaxed, and while maintaining an optimal structure, depending on what variation you're in, how can you also find a sense of quietness, of letting go? Your eyes, your brain, pit of your throat, abdomen, watching your breath. So especially if you're in Savangasana, becoming quieter doesn't mean you're collapsing. You're quiet in this firm structure, which gives you a sense of space inside. And that sense of physical space is almost like a doorway to that other space. If your body's collapsing and shrinking and falling in on itself, it's very difficult to feel that wonderful sense of vastness within. Then all you are is uncomfortable and suffering. So putting in that little bit of extra effort to create space first on the physical plane and feeling that sense of space within, how it's vaster than it's possible for it to be. So even when you feel that sense of physical space, it's not actually, it takes you to a sense beyond that. That, as far as I understand, and from my experience, it can't happen with the body collapsing. So Setu Bandha, you've set yourself up that you don't need to have so much effort, and you get to experience this openness. Céline, aussi bouger les briques un peu plus vers le bas. C'est pas dans le bas du dos. Peut-être c'est l'angle de la caméra, mais j'ai l'impression que tu peux bouger un petit peu. Pas trop, juste un peu. Voilà, essayez là. Ça va mieux ou pas? You can do a thumbs up. That's it. Okay, better. Good. Keep breathing. Nisha, your brick also looks like it could be a tiny bit more towards your tailbone. Remember, the brick in Setu Bandha is 1/3 sacrum, 2/3 tailbone. That brick is moving your tailbone in, not your lumbar in. Does it feel better there, Nisha? Okay, good. All right, so I mean, obviously, I'm not in the room with you. Sometimes the camera can distort, so I'm not telling you where you have to put it, but at least do the experience, shift the brick and see, does this feel better, that not. If you need to go back to the way you were doing it before, by all means, but just, yeah, the placement of the brick is very important in Setu Bandha. Those of you in Savangasana come into Halasana. Stretch your legs like you learned to stretch them in standing poses. Our previous weeks of our hip openings, your sit, your Supta Padangusthasana, how you stretch your legs there. That's how you stretch your legs in Savangasana. And in Halasana, you've kind of got your Chaturanga Dandasana stretch. So here in Halasana, how it's those front thighs, the top front thighs, they want to hang down. And how you can practice absorbing those front thighs to the bone, to the femur bone, lift the sides of your body, shoulder blades in, dorsal spine in. And all of that with a quiet brain, relaxed throat and jaw. Change the interlock of your fingers if you're doing Halasana. Those of you in Setabandha, especially if you've had the brick, and you feel like it's enough, you can slowly come make your way out. If you're in a more supported Setabandha and you want to stay another minute, that's also fine. Celine, you're also struggling a bit because your chest is collapsing. So you have to work at lifting and opening the chest. So it's nice to relax the arms to either side, and it's more quietening, but for you to interlock the fingers behind the bricks and lift and roll onto your shoulders more and get more opening in your chest means that your lumbar won't have to do all the work, but that your dorsal spine is coming in as well, or more. The lumbar is extending. It's the dorsal that is bending. Tailbone in, dorsal in, and in between that, the lumbar is extended. Okay, everybody slowly start to make your way out. And you're going to sit on whatever support you need. Maybe you don't need any, maybe you need a lot. So you're using your intelligence that you have developed through your practice to choose what is the optimal placement for you. Use your chair or your bolster, or a brick, something for your head. Yoga Mudrasana in Swastikasana, or Adho Mukha Swastikasana. Rest in your brain. Relax your jaw. And then inhale, slowly come up. Change the cross of your legs. And come forward again. Remember how you place your head, skin of your forehead gently down. Shoulders wide. Breathe and let go. Physically resting your brain to your support. And then inhale, slowly come up. And so if you have a period, you could do, you can carry on with a bit of forward bends, or you can do Supta Baddha Konasana, place your belt, and come and rest back. Otherwise, legs up the wall, preferably in Viparita Karani if you know how to do the setup, or if you don't have enough stuff, or you don't know, just simple blanket, folded in a rectangle, legs up the wall. Or Viprasarita Padasana, 90 degrees. Shoulder blades tucked under. Release your arms to either side. Those of you whose legs fall out. So this is a straight leg pose. And if we roll out, how we put weight on the inner knees. So rather use a belt. Heels can be a little bit apart, toes a little bit in. Careful not to let the knees roll too far in though either. So inner thighs roll in with the knees staying more or less as straight as we can. And then let go and relax completely. Letting go of your brain, your eyes, your throat. So for some of you, depending on where you're watching from, it's a little bit cool today, but in general, lying against the wall is always cooler, so and takes heat away from the body. So I often like to wrap a blanket around my legs like a little cocoon. It's not absolutely necessary, but you want to feel warm, you want to feel comfortable so that you can let go. If you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, you should have a little support for under the head, that the chin isn't falling back, a folded blanket under your head if you're on your bolster in Supta Baddha Konasana. Let your eyes sink into your back of your head again. Brain rest into the back of your head. So notice how the brain and the eyes are constantly wanting to push forward, how their habitual state for most people is one of tension. That means that even if you're resting, you're not consciously letting go those specific areas that constantly hold tension. It means that you might pass whatever time that you're in these restorative poses without having gone as deep into letting go as is possible if you consciously let go those different parts. Eyes, brain, abdomen, diaphragm especially, but lungs, heart, throat also, shoulders, arms, hands. There's so many things that we need to let go. So many places we hold tension. So keep scanning, gently, slowly, letting go part by part, and then just starting the whole process all over again. So I've also said this many times. For example, we worked strongly, deeply on creating certain movements, directions, actions in the leg. And that wasn't like once off telling your leg to do it and then it automatically stayed like that forever and ever after. You have to keep talking to your leg, keep asking, keep encouraging. It needed constant consciousness to maintain that optimal action placement of the leg. Letting go also needs constant consciousness, not for action, not to move, not to be dynamic in your poses, but for letting go. Because letting go once, for one breath, doesn't mean that your body is going to stay in that rested state. Continue to let go again and again. With each exhalation, in each moment, letting go completely. You're going to cross your legs against the wall. Simple cross legs. Let go again completely. Slowly stretch your legs. Rest there for a moment. Change the cross of your legs. And slowly stretch your legs again. And come back from the wall to lie in Shavasana. So moving the minimal amount possible. Coming to your Shavasana, you can have the support from behind your knees, which is good not only for your lumbar, but actually for the knees as well. Make sure there's nothing in your way. Push your props and things you have floating around out of your way, and come in line Shavasana. Make sure your shoulder blades are well placed. And let go of your whole body. Again, continue to go with your exhalations. Let yourself sink deeper and deeper into the earth. For one more moment, just allow yourself to be. And slowly come back to your inhalations. Slow, soft, deep, peaceful inhalations. Filling each and every cell of your whole body. Again, how you become aware of that sense of space, of lightness within. And slowly preparing yourself to come back. Bend your legs one at a time, tailbone buttocks away from you. Roll onto your right side and stay on your side for a moment. And then slowly turn to the floor to sit up. Join your hands. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you for your questions. Don't feel shy to ask questions because whatever questions you might have might also help somebody else, especially those who can't be here who will watch later. And I love all weather. I do love grey and rainy weather, but I must say, Nisha, seeing that sunshine, sunny spot you placed yourself in, I wouldn't mind a bit of that sunshine where I am. Anyway, guys, have a beautiful day and see you all tomorrow, Saturday, next week, whenever it is that you can join me again. Okay, namaste.